Hello, it's everybody. I hope you're well today. I'm Marielka from the Path of Beauty and Wonder, and I'm sat in one of my favourite places to come. It's a beautiful oak tree here, Clive the Mighty Oak, and it's a place I've been coming for a number of years now. And I love this place because I can be here and know that I won't be disturbed by other humans. So it really is just a place where I can connect in with myself, immerse myself in nature, be in connection with nature. And I often get lots of visitors. This morning I've had a little wren. And I often see a wren when I'm here actually, which always feels very magical, and I love just watching them kind of move through the undergrowth, feeding, and they have such a loud song or loud voice for such a little being. But it's a lovely little place. I just felt cool to do a little video. And it's interesting because I've been wanting to start doing videos on a regular basis for quite some time. And I guess one of the things that has perhaps it's with anything, isn't it? When we start in terms of getting started with something, sometimes the hardest part is actually getting started because it can bring up all sorts of stuff for us. And so one of the things that was coming up for me, for example, was what to do was my first video. And getting caught into maybe overthinking it a little bit too much, rather than just allowing myself just to see what flowed through me. And so I thought, well, maybe actually I'll just talk about some of the challenges that we can have in terms of starting something, and how it can bring up all of those things for us, which can be really helpful, can be challenging, particularly if it's something that we really, really want to start, like it feels really aligned. The sort of when we can vision ourselves doing it, and feel into kind of why we want to do it, and it feels really kind of good within the body. There can be a sense of frustration sometimes where it's like, well, we just need to get started. And that's very different from perhaps if we feel like there's something that we need to do that that we should be doing, or because everybody else is doing it we should be doing it, or there's a certain way we should do it. So it's that difference between noticing the feelings that we might be experiencing within ourselves, within our body, the thoughts that are coming up, is that resistance, or is there a sense of something is misaligned? And often when it's misaligned, like for me, often it can be there's a way that I feel that in my body, and it can feel like a real kind of force, like I'm trying to force something. I feel like I should be doing it. So it's kind of tuning into like both the language, the voices that are going through my head, and on what things are being said there. Is there a sense of shoulding, or comparing to other people, or this is what you've been told that is the right thing to do, or is there a sense of actually it just feels a little bit uncomfortable, or quite uncomfortable, because it means sort of stepping out of my comfort zone. And and I know, and then I can tune into like other times where I felt that resistance, and maybe I found a way to move through it, and actually there's been a real sense of like expansion and joy, and kind of just like, yes, I've done it. And oh wow, gosh, why was I sort of struggling so much with doing this? Tuning into, okay, is this something that's aligned for me? Is this something that I truly, if I connect in with my body and my heart, is this something that I really want to be doing? Or is there an element of kind of shutting? And I know in terms of these videos, it's something that I've really wanted to do. I'm quite a visual person, so it's like I've seen myself doing them, but there was just a lot that was stopping me from actually doing it. And like I say, that first thing was like, well, what should I do as my first video? Do I need to explain, introduce myself, or explain what the path of beauty and wonder is all about? I kind of feel that will begin to become clear as I share, and as I show up. And I think the most important thing was just for me to make a start, just to make a start. And so I'm starting with this video. So I wonder for you, is there something that you have perhaps found you want to start right now? Or you've had trouble starting with in the past, and what sorts of things came up for you around that, or are coming up for you around that? I know for me, one of the things that can come up is wanting to get things right. And there's lots of different kind of flavors of this for me. I'm definitely a recovering perfectionist. And so there's a sense of, wanting to be seen to be doing the right thing or getting things right. And I guess part of that kind of comes from, one, it's very vulnerable. The whole visibility thing and sharing yourself and speaking and putting yourself out there. And particularly I think on social media, or these kind of platforms where you're not directly in connection with another. So people who know me know that I'm very open, and vulnerable and authentic, and I love to kind of share and listen and have those kind of interactions. And it's much I enjoy that sense of I guess the visibility, in person, or even if it's online via Zoom, that feels much more natural to me. Things that can come up for me around whether it's a post or a video or whatever is that fear of kind of judgment or criticism or rejection of some sort. And I guess I've definitely experienced that in the past in terms of in person. It's definitely been a journey of practicing and showing up and becoming more comfortable and stuff. And so I guess that's a similar thing here, is how can I start showing up in a way that feels really good and natural and joyful for me, and know that also maybe there will be criticism and judgment or rejection, but knowing that I can hold myself in that, all those young parts of me, and be like, I'm okay, even if that happens, I'm okay. Often the thought of something I find can be kind of worse than the actual reality of it. And it's not to invalidate or belittle those fears that can come up for us. And I know for myself there's been a lot of work that I've been doing over the years to really understand and these fears and hold different parts of me, and receiving kind of support with that. And there is also a point where actually it's only through taking action that we can build up the confidence, or kind of get the evidence that all those fears that we have, that perhaps that will be okay, even if it does happen. And maybe it won't happen, maybe something else will happen. Who knows? So there's definitely something there, and that real kind of fear, I guess, of what other people will think. And then I think there is, for me as well, there's also I've been getting caught up in what's the right thing or the best thing for me to focus my energy on. And this definitely comes from a place of feeling like I have a history of, so I've had chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia in the past. I had quite a long number of years where, my health in a way kind of stopped me from perhaps doing everything that I would, being in the world, being fully kind of in the world. And that's definitely something I'll kind of share much more about, because it's been such a key part in the way that I now live my life, which I call the path of beauty and wonder. But yeah, it's like this fear I still hold in my body of like, or this belief maybe of like, I've only got a certain amount of energy, and I want to make sure that I put it to, towards the right thing, the best thing that's going to support me to where I want to go to. But often I can end up using so much energy in worrying or thinking about what it is that might be best to do, that that probably uses more energy up than actually doing it. So again, for me, it's just bringing loving awareness to those different parts of me, to those fears that can come up, and then taking some action, which is what I'm doing. I think that there can also be a feeling often with things like social media or videos or whatever, that there's a right way to do it. There's and I've attended things myself, and you see it all the time. This is how you should be doing social media, or this is how you work with the algorithms, or this is how you're going to get clients or make X amount of money or whatever. And there can often be this sense of like there's a right way. And very much for me, and I feel like this is part again of the path of beauty and wonder, is it's about finding our own way. And often there can feel, when we try to force something, and I've definitely been there, where I've like, right, okay, I'm going to get on social media, I'm going to show up consistently. And it can feel too much because it's perhaps out of our own rhythms, or it doesn't feel joyful, or we're sharing from a place of force rather than flow or an authenticity, and we can end up burning out. And I've definitely I've had a severe burnout in the past, but also kind of like mini burnouts where it's like, this just feels too much. So for me, doing videos like this, out in nature, just sharing what's alive, what's flowing through me, what's in my heart, what I feel called to share, just feels like a more joyful way of doing it. And it feels a little bit more connective for me, like even though I can't see you, there's a sense of like I can feel that whoever tunes into this video, there's a little connection there that is taking place, much more so than perhaps in a post or something. So that's how I'm feeling at the moment anyway. And I guess I mentioned there about this need to be consistent, and you hear it so often with social media, and I think we can look at consistency in different ways, and it's about, again, if we're coming from a place of force and showing up because we feel that we should, rather than actually this feels joyful for me, or really allowing ourselves to find our own rhythm and our own form of consistency. But I guess there can be a fear that if, like, once I get started, I'm going to have to keep on showing up. And have I got the energy? Is this the right time in me? I've got all these other things that are happening in my life right now. Maybe I need to wait. This is another block that can come up, and maybe you're familiar with this. It's like, I'll wait until everything in life is just a little bit smoother. And definitely what I've learned and had lots of reminders of is that there probably isn't going to come this point where everything is just smooth, and and actually it's about how can I show up anyway with what's happening in my life and where I'm at right now. How can I show up in a way that, as I say, feels joyful, easeful, authentic? And sorry, I just got distracted there by a big bird flying past. So I'm not sure what kind of bird it was, but and I think that's the key, really. Yeah. And yeah, it's just showing up, finding a way to show up that feels good, and knowing that, you know, and I think for me as well, it was actually, you know, the path of beauty and wonder. It's all around finding the kind of you know, the beauty in life, no matter what's happening, and how nature can really support us and be a guide where it's possible to feel and experience moments of joy even during the most difficult of times. And it's also about really allowing ourselves and giving ourselves permission just to show up and be real and raw and authentic and vulnerable. And, you know, there can be lots of messiness with all of that. So, you know, for me, it's like, well, if that's what the path of beauty and wonder is about, then, you know, it's about me also embodying that in terms of how I show up. Even if I embody it in my life, it's like, if I feel called to share things, you know, can I share it from that place of like, this is how I am today? And often there can be so much richness, so much beauty, so much insight, that can take place in those really challenging moments, and actually, to share those. You know, we never know who else out there might be experiencing something similar, and you know, through sharing. And I've definitely had that myself, where I've, you know, read a post or I've tuned into a video or podcast and just been like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that's experiencing it. Even if we know that, you know, sometimes we just need to really feel it and hear it, and yeah, and that's why I think, it's part of my desire to share. It also feels a real kind of like my soul wants to share, and in not sharing, it's hurting my soul in some ways. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it really for today, in this moment anyway. So yeah, I'm sure there were probably other things that have been coming up for me. I definitely, like, even this morning, it's like I'm very good at like the big vision, and like I can see really clearly perhaps what I want to create for my life or within my work, to be in service. And even though I can identify the different parts that might form that, sometimes getting down into the little steps that will take me there. It's like, I want to be you know, at the in the big vision kind of part of it, and it's like, what are those little steps? And one of those little steps is actually getting started. So here I am with my first video, and yeah, I'd really love to hear from you. Like, I don't know, maybe what's something that's you're finding hard to get started on? You know, what is coming up for you around that? Maybe just tune into the feelings when you think about and feel into that thing that you want to start. How does it feel in your body? Just noticing what's running through your mind. Is there a sense of like you should be, or somebody's told you that this is what you need to do? Or is there really a sense of like, I'd love to do this, but X, Y, Z, and really feel into what might be some of the blocks that are coming up for you. Perhaps some of what I've shared resonates with you. Perhaps there's something else, you know, share those. It might spark something in me as well. And sometimes it can be helpful just to tune into, okay, what's one small action I can take? And maybe that is just to connect in with how you're feeling about it. Maybe it's to go for a little walk and wander with it and see what arises. Maybe it's you want to reach out and get some support. You know, just feel into what is one thing that you might be able to do today to take action. And I'm sending you lots of love and wishing you gentleness and many moments of wonder. the invitation is to slow down and notice, and yeah, wonder and beauty is all around us. Go well. Take care.